Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm seeing on Bitcoin's chart, because as we all know, Bitcoin has pumped. It's pumped so much. It's an absolute roller coaster. So this is my chart here. I know it's absolutely nuts, guys. Let me go ahead and take a couple moments to explain what's going on here. I'm a major proponent when it comes to parallel lines. So you guys can see that with these blue lines and then with the yellow lines. The yellow lines is when Bitcoin is pumping, when it's going up. The blue line is when Bitcoin is going down. And I don't know why, but for some reason, this is just what I've seen Bitcoin follow so often is this blue line at this angle right here and this yellow line at its angle, okay? It's so weird. I don't know what it is, but it just absolutely fascinates me, okay? So if we go ahead and take a look at the blue line, let's go ahead and take a look at this one that's right here, okay? The thicker one. Bitcoin, when it breaks out, it hit the blue upper channel and then it breaks down and it hits it as support, and this lower one rides it up and down support and resistance. And you see the yellow line, it rides up that yellow line before it actually comes all the way back down and hits this blue line as resistance, actually breaks down even below that. Take a look at this yellow channel. It rides up this yellow channel, right, before actually hitting this blue line as resistance, as it did many times here, okay? And it actually follows underneath. We actually break above it only for FTX to happen and crash under. And then we have this yellow line right here. This yellow line is at a different angle as all of these other yellow lines. Why? It's because this yellow line actually is a lot longer term line. So if I go ahead and show you what's going on, we can see that when Bitcoin actually hit its lows of recently in end of November to early January of 2023, if we go ahead and travel it back, we can see this is when the pandemic happened, when Bitcoin actually got all the way down to the $3,000 range, shot right back up, and it just like respected this yellow line for a couple of weeks before actually breaking all the way back up. And if I go ahead and travel it back down even more, this was the lows of the 2017 high. So 2017, when Bitcoin went all the way up to like 19.5, and it actually took a massive dump, and look at that, it respected that yellow line once again before actually breaking all the way back out. So this yellow line, it's actually a very important line. It's a long-term kind of a line. So very, very high potential that we could actually revisit this line again sometime. And so we can just see for some reason, Bitcoin just follows this channel. It just fascinates me. When I found this angle, I was just like, it's crazy how much Bitcoin actually follows it. Now, you see Bitcoin had actually followed it when it was in this bull run here, when it actually went to its highs of 64,000, only to dump back down all the way down to around 30 range, and then it just goes up and down this yellow range right here. I don't know why it does that, but it just does that. So if we go ahead and take a look at what's going on now, so this is when we were at our lows, all right, and then we pumped all the way to the top of this channel right here. And so this gave me that upper channel where it just kind of popped up and then it went back down, went back up again, almost reached it, and then went back down. We dipped even below that. Look at that. Look at that long tail right there. Kind of made me think that we were actually going to follow this lower blue channel. That's why I drew this line right here, because I thought that was the upper part of the channel. So I thought we were actually going to bounce up and down this channel right here going down. But we actually, hit this point where the whole bank crisis situation happened, the whole USDC situation happened, and Bitcoin actually popped all the way back up here. If I go ahead and measure this candle, it was just insane. It's like 25%. It's ridiculous. I thought that Bitcoin was actually going to follow this channel, as I said, but it just popped all the way back up almost to the upper part of that yellow channel. It could reach it, it could not reach it, but if it does reach it, that could be at around 28,700 by this week. The next candle, if it reaches the top, it could be around just under 30,000. And then the week after that would be deep into 30,000, 30,600. Okay. So that's all possibilities. I don't know how likely it is for it to do that. But, now with this Bitcoin actually headed back up, and maybe potentially trying to make people really bullish, that we could probably hit $30,000. I don't think it's going to go any further than that personally, but maybe it could. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong many times before, but it's just very hard for me to see it go all the way past 30,000. We have a strong resistance right at this line right here, this red line. That's why I dropped it in. We could see that it acted as support a couple of times here, support a couple times here. We revisited this red line here. So this is a major resistance point for Bitcoin. So if we actually break out of this line, we could, potentially go a lot higher. I don't think that it's likely. I still think that Bitcoin could go down to $13,000. You know, Clear Value Tax thinks it could go back down to $13,000. Gareth Soloway thinks it could go back to $13,000. I think that Bitcoin is actually going to do pretty well the first half of 2023, you know, all the way up until June. And then later half of 2023 is when perhaps something could possibly happen with Bitcoin. You know, a black swan event could happen. The economy can continue to get worse. You know, the full effects of the interest rate hikes can fully hit the economy. And so we'll see what actually happens with Bitcoin, you know, but until Bitcoin hits 14,000, it could continue to keep going up. Who knows where Bitcoin is going to head? You know, Bitcoin is always up and down, up and down. You never know where it's going to go, right? But at the end of the day, I still think that it's going to go to 14,000, potentially even all the way back down to 9,000. And so when people make those kind of predictions, we can kind of see how it kind of plays out during the pandemic, okay? So when Bitcoin shot all the way up to $14,000 in June of 2019, you know, it went up and down here. It popped up all the way up until $10,000, only to crash down to $3,000. There's some people that could have called for $3,000 Bitcoin. There's some people that could have called for a $5,000 Bitcoin when Bitcoin was up here at around 14,000, at 10,000, you know. So when people were making those calls, it could have been something like this, okay, where Bitcoin actually crashes all the way down, but it doesn't stay there for very long. You know, it actually recovers pretty quickly over the next couple of weeks. It continues to keep going up and then go all the way up to its bull run, you know. And so we never know what's going to happen, but when people are calling for these crazy low prices, it could be for a quick moment. It could be for only a week or a couple weeks. And at that time, that is a time to strike. This would have been an amazing time to buy Bitcoin. Imagine if you bought there and then sold all the way up here at $60,000. That would be an insane return. So that could be what could happen here, okay? So if Bitcoin actually just does whatever it does, but finally goes back to around that $14,000, $13,000, maybe even $9,000 range, you should be ready to scoop up Bitcoin and scoop up as much as you can, you know, and that's kind of my plan at the moment. I am stacking cash. I am waiting for that chance to buy Bitcoin. Whatever Bitcoin does until then, I don't really care. You know, with this whole macroeconomic situation where there could be a lot of layoffs happening as we get deeper into 2023, you know, I'm stacking the cash. I don't want to go all in with, you know, investing heavy, because right now it's a pretty uncertain time. We don't know what's going to happen with this whole bank crisis situation, with all this Fed hiking rates to fight inflation. It's just a kind of an uncertain time, right? I'm still dollar cost averaging. I'm still buying into my 401k, still buying boring things like, you know, VTI, the total stock market ETF from Vanguard. And so I'm still doing all those stuff. I'm still investing in my dividend account, but I'm waiting for my chance to go in heavy. You know, that's what I'm talking about, to go in heavy and to go all in. That's what I'm specifically talking about. So once Bitcoin hits below around $18,000, if Bitcoin gets there, I'm going to start dollar cost averaging back in heavy again. And I'm just going to continue to keep buying down all the way to 9,000 if it does ever get to that low. Okay, that's about it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, definitely hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying so hard to get this channel to be monetized. I need 1,000 subscribers to do so. So I really appreciate your help and your subscription, and I'm going to try to keep my best to make these videos and keep you guys updated. All right, well, my name is Jimmy Invest, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.